Hello everyone, good to see you all. Welcome to Excel Visuals with Muthu. In this video, we are going to learn about selection. How to select a data in a proper manner, what are the problems we will face, how to overcome, how to maintain the data in a proper way. Like that, we are going to check. Number one, we have the cell, row, and then column. Like that, we all know, right? So in this is a cell. I need to move to the next cells. What we will do usually, we will click on the cells one by one with the mouse. Without using mouse, we can use the arrow keys in the keyboard. The up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrows we have right on the right bottom of our keyboard. I can press an up arrow, right arrow, left arrows, down arrows. Like that we can able to move with just arrow keys. But what we need, I need to select something. So what we can do is, instead of just arrow keys, you can use the shift right arrow. See here, one by one. Else shift left arrow. Else shift up arrow or shift down arrow. Like that, we can able to choose shift right arrows, shift down arrows, shift up arrows, shift left arrows. Everywhere it will work if you have the data, or if you don't have the data also, it will automatically work. In blank cells also, shift arrow keys will work. We no need to worry about anything. Okay, so the first step is just selecting the data. So if you want to move to any cells, click arrow keys, or else if you want to select the cells, you can use shift plus arrow keys. But I don't need to select cells one by one. I need to select the entire column. So what we will do, we will take our mouse, click the entire column, or else click the entire row. Like that we people will do. Yes, right everyone. So cells selecting one by one, like the same with mouse, right? So without using mouse, what we can do, I can click on any single cell. There is a shortcut, control space. We will use space bar for space typing, right? The same I am trying to use control space. What happened? Automatically entire column gets selected. No need to use the mouse. At the same time, if I click on any cell, and if I use shift space, it will select entire row. So for selecting entire row or entire column, we can use the shortcuts shift space and control space for entire row, and then for entire column we can use control space. Like that we can able to have. This is for entire column or entire row. But what people will do is, they will click here, put control space first. With this entire cells selected, if they press shift space, it will select entire sheet. I will click on a single cell, only one row, only one column. But in case if I have selected some 2 to 3 cells and rows and columns, if I use control space, these two, shift space, this entire, like that, it will be selected. If you want to select the entire sheet with the mouse, no need to manually strain. Before this alphabet and the numbers, the row and column headings, there will be this triangle mark, right? If you click, automatically entire data will get, entire sheet will get selected. Now I have selected entire column, but that is not my requirement. I need to select only my entire column. Many people will prefer mouse for this, right? What we can do easily with the mouse, we can able to select the data and then we will work. Instead, what we can do, we can able to use some shortcuts. Before selection, I need to go to the end cell. If you have 15 cells, means you won't find any issue. In case if there are 1000 cells in the data, if you have some 10,000 lines in the data, definitely selection we people will scroll our mouse manually to achieve this, right? Instead, what I can do is I can click on the first cell. Arrow keys means one by one it will move, right? Instead, I am trying to use control plus arrow keys, which will take us to the end in the position. I am going to press down arrow, it's giving the end cell. Yes, right? I am pressing right arrow, it will take me to the right hand side end, top end, left end, like that. It will make us to move to the end of the data. So if I click in the middle also somewhere, control down arrow. If I click somewhere here, control up arrow, somewhere control left, control right, like that, it will take us to the end of our data. So this is the next point. If you want to move to the end, you can use control plus arrow keys. But now I moved, but I haven't selected. So what we can do, I can go for a selection. So we know shift down arrow, right arrow will select one by one. At the same time, control arrow keys will take us to the end. So I am trying to combine these both, which is I am clicking on the first cell, control will go down, shift will select. So I will combine control shift down arrows. See here, I will click here, control shift down arrow, control shift right arrow will select entire data. We can reduce our mouse work a lot. I need to select from here, control shift right arrow, control shift down arrow, like that. From any position to the end, if you want to select, you can able to use the shortcut control shift arrow keys. We can able to do this for data selection. Now what I'm trying to check is this control arrow and control shift down arrow. For a data we checked, but I can click on this empty cell A1. What I need to know what is the end cell of my Excel sheet. So there is no data in between. So what I will do, I will click and I will press control right arrow. If I just increase the zoom and check, XFD is the last limit, which means it is 16,384 columns are there. A, B, A, like that. If you check, 16,384. At the same time, what I will do, I will go to the end by control down arrow. See here, it is 10,48,000 rows and 16,384 columns we have as a limit. If I do the same, control left arrow, we will come to this cell, 16,384 columns and 10,48,000 rows we have. I will go back, control up arrow, which will take us to the starting point of our data. Okay, so control arrow keys will travel along within the data. So control right arrow, control down arrow, control left arrow, control up arrow will take you to the end. If you have any blank sheet, if you don't have any data, it will do like that. If you have a data, it will go to the end. But there will be some mistakes in the data. Mistakes in the sense, people will have lot of blanks in the data. The problem of blanks I am going to show now. What I am going to check is, I am in the first cell. What I need to go to the end. But the problem is we have blanks in the data. So what I will do, control down arrow. What happened? It won't move because it will stop at the end of your data. If you have a blank, there is no data, so Excel will stop. Again control down, again control down, again and again you have to work. Control right, 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 up, up, left, like that you people have to work a lot. Like the same will happen for control shift arrow keys also. Control shift down, control shift down, like that you have to press. Right arrow also the same, it will stop at the point where data is not there, like that it will stop. So what you have to do, whenever maintaining any data, please don't maintain with the blanks. Okay, so for the blanks you have to do multiple times and then you have to waste your time. But now people can ask a question, I have to select only the data, whether it contains blanks or non-blanks, whatever, only the particular data. Simple data means with mouse, but if it is a huge data you can't do that, right? For that we have a shortcut, which is control A. You can able to select entire data by using control A. What I will do, I will click on the first cell or any cell, whichever position inside the data you can able to have. I can press control A, only the data will get selected. But in case if I click on any blank cell and if I press control A, entire sheet, this triangular option I showed, right, entire sheet will get selected. No, I need only the data, so control A at the end or the middle, wherever. Now the advantage of control A is, if you have maintained the data, I can click any position inside this and I can have control A, it will work. So no need to waste your time by control shift down, right, like that. Just a single cell, control A, like that we can able to get. If you want to use with control shift arrow keys, then the data rules, the first major role in data maintaining and handling, which is no blanks in the data. At least give a find and replace and put a hyphen in all those elements. So this is the important rule that we have to check. No blanks. This is for normal data, but this is a data table, right? I have mentioned control A also. So there is one more rule for data table maintenance. Many people, what they will do, if you want to have a table, have it as a separate one with some gap surrounding, which is one row, one column, to the left, to the top, to the bottom as a gap. Else what will happen? I'm going to check heading. I'm going to give a heading for this, which is fruit sales data. This is my heading. Now what I will do, I will click on a single cell, control A. What happened? My heading is also get selected. What I will do, I will click here and I will type something for my reference, just to 44. But if I click control A, this data also gets selected and I am giving total as a heading here, and then I will use the sum formula. So if I do like this too, this entire informations will get selected. So the next rule of data maintenance will be, if you want to maintain any data table, have the table as a separate by leaving a row on the top, on the right, to the left, on the bottom as an empty one. Maintain a data as a separate one. So control shift down arrow or control A will understand that as a proper particular data. So this is the next rule, data table maintenance rule. So these are the first 10 elements that people will regularly handle in their data elements. So please try to concentrate on these. For moving to cells, use arrow. For selecting cells, shift. So for selecting into a row or a column, control or shift space. Then to end of the data, control arrows. For selecting to the end, control shift arrows. But if you have a blank, multiple times you have to select and you have to waste your time. So that control A. So the important point is, for data, don't use a blank. At the same time, if you want to separate data, have it as a separate element without any connection in between two tables. That's it for selection today. Everyone, thank you all. We can see in the next video.